For those who lost loved ones in the military, Memorial Day often brings moments of reflection and remembrance. At the National Mall in Washington, D.C., World War II veterans gathered to honor the more than 400,000 U.S. service members who lost their lives during the war. At Arlington National Cemetery, President Biden and military leaders visited the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is dedicated to U.S. service members whose remains have not been identified. Here's how Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, a former four-star general, spoke about what the families of fallen soldiers experience.
Our Gold Star and surviving families wage a fight that goes on long after the funerals. And it is our sacred duty to do more to ease the burden that they shoulder on Memorial Day and every day. Because for as long as America has sent our sons and daughters into harm's way, those on the home front have also been on the front lines.
And Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, JoAnne Bass, joins me now. She is the first woman and the first Asian American to fill the role of the service's highest ranking enlisted officer. Chief Bass, thank you very much for being with us and for your service.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be here.
You were there for the Memorial Day ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. First, I want to ask how you approach what is often a difficult day of remembrance for so many.
It very much is, being there and watching it now on television, but also being there with so many family members and friends of people who've lost loved ones. It's a tough situation. People are quite emotional. It's very humbling. But in any case, we all come there with a unified effort of just being able to honor and forever remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our nation.
Is there anything you wish civilians could better understand about what days like this mean for members of the military and their families?
Absolutely. The one thing that we always pass on to folks is, while it's always a great opportunity to have perhaps a weekend where you can celebrate with friends and barbecue and things like that, it is, not necessarily that at all for our military members. Most of us know of somebody or are related to somebody who have, paid that ultimate sacrifice. So while you get ready to fellowship and hang out and have your barbecues, take a moment to just really think about the folks that have paid that sacrifice and just spend a few moments just thinking about them, perhaps calling a loved one or a friend or family member and wish them well. But it's way more than a 3-day weekend, and it's way more than a barbecue. It is a day where we take and reflect, we honor, we remember, and we promise that we will never forget our brothers and sisters.
The true meaning of the day. Now, you grew up in a military family. You've been in the Air Force for nearly 3 decades yourself, and now you work with young Americans enlisting. How have you seen things change over time, and what impact are you trying to have as part of modern leadership?
Nancy, I am a part of a proud military family. My dad served for 24 years in the United States Army. I am married to a veteran as well who served for 27 years in the Army, and I joined the United States Air Force. And so it's a privilege and an honor for me to be able to serve in this capacity and bring on the next generation of airmen who in 10 years from now will be serving in 2031 and carrying on that legacy so that we can make sure that we can be the Air Force that our nation needs when called upon at any time, anywhere.
And as you know, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin issued a stand-down order earlier this year so members of the military could discuss and take roots and steps to root out extremism inside the ranks. Now, as a leader who has broken the brass ceiling, as some call it, what steps are you taking to build a more inclusive force for your airmen and women?
Well, one thing that I will say about the military is I'm actually very proud of the model that we have. We are a diverse force, and you can see that amongst our ranks. You can see that within our military children. What we have to continually work on is making sure that we are inclusive and we embrace that inclusion, because it's when we do those things that our military can really be as creative and as innovative as we need it to be. We've got a whole lot of efforts to make sure that we are doing that, but we're just doing it.
Was there anything that surprised you from your discussions with fellow members of the Air Force?
Not necessarily surprised me. What I found that stand down day did was provide an opportunity for us to understand the backstory that many of our airmen go through, and to understand those stories. And every single one of us has a very different one. Just helps us be able to be the teammates and the wingmen that we need to be able to support each other so that we can be our very best. But nothing necessarily surprising. It was more so just an opportunity to be able to learn about each other and how we can better support each other so that we can move forward.
Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, JoAnne Bass, thank you so much for joining us and for your service.
Thank you, Nancy.